Girl, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy D Scott. We back in it. Hardcore casual MMA. We're gonna recap UFC Noche. Mostly the main event: Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva, which was a hell of a fight. Fight of the year contender, candidate off the rip. Fight of the year candidate. But let's jump into it. I went 3-1 on my picks for the main card. Fucking Rob Font sold on me, but we come to discover that David Martinez is a good bantamweight, and he's ranked now after his first fight in the division, beating Rob Font. So we'll see what he looks like in the future. The first fight that I predicted was the Gaslam versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Went to decision. I predicted it would go to decision. Gaslam fought a good fight. It was a decent fight to watch. Then the what other fight? What other fight did we had? Kevin Gaslam. We had Alexander Hernandez and Diego Ferreira. I predicted that win and predicted a finish, and there was a finish. I should have put a little parlay together with this one, probably got a little money on or something. But yeah, Alexander Hernandez got the knockout and got the finish. But next up, we had the Rob Font and David Martinez, which I just discussed. Rob Font selling on us. And then the main event, which was Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva. Oh my God. I mean, I knew it. And a lot of fans who watch the UFC and watch combat sports and MMA just knew that these two styles put together was going to make for one hell of a fight. They came out in the first round, and Silva was playing mind games and playing trickery. Damn, Silva's camp and Diego's camp was at it, I guess, the whole time leading up to it, and usually Diego Lopes is super chill. He's very respectful. So I feel like John Silva he's a little throwed off, and he has to, try to be manipulative and get into his opponent's heads. That's a part of his game, is getting into his opponent's head, and he's super throwed off. But they come out in the first round in the stand up, and Diego Lopes is being super patient. He's waiting on John Silva, and John Silva's landing some good shots, some heavy shots on Diego, and he was eating them, and they seemed like they didn't have any effect on Diego. But after that, they got into one encounter, and Silva got out of place and missed his punch. Diego slipped it and went for the takedown. Instantly got full mount on Silva and was raining down mean elbows, hammer fists, all kinds of punches, and put it on Silva. I think he had that top position for like 2 minutes near the end of that first round. So Diego came out and won that first round. Second round comes, and it's kind of more the same. Silva's wanting to touch hands and dap up after every round and in between rounds, and Diego Lopes just not having it. He told Silva, like, I'm only touching hands with you once. That's it. And I feel like Silva uses that to manipulate his opponents, kind of get him comfortable, and shortly after that, he usually, finishes or TKOs his opponent from those glove touches and slapping hands. Like, man, we're in a fucking fight, bro. Like, nobody's trying to keep dapping you up and giving you the nod, and it's like it's trickery. Like you gotta have this killer instinct and this mentality while you're in the cage. You got somebody across from you who's trying to end you and finish you and hurt you. And then, you're trying to ease the tension and be Mr. Nice Guy and, give them props and shit. And I feel like, yeah, that's just a manipulative tactic by John Silva. So then, they're going back and forth in the stand up, and Silva is getting the best of Diego Lopes. He threw a few spinning elbows to try to land, and he came close a couple times. He landed a couple jabs, hard jabs, and overhands, and he was starting to find Diego Lopes heavy, and looked like he might have kind of even hurt Diego Lopes a little bit. Not actually, wobbled him or rocked him, but he looked like, those shots were starting to have effect. So Diego Lopes still being patient. John Silva starts feeling himself, so he starts getting wild, throwing heavy and without any regards to his defense. So he's kind of chasing Diego Lopes along the cage. Throws I think he threw like a right overhand or like a right hook, and totally whiffed it and missed. And Diego Lopes times a spinning elbow and splits John Silva open, instantly drops him. He was unconscious, I believe, until he hit the mat. Diego Lopes gets on top of him, ground and pound, and finish the fight. The ref calls it. It's over. So then, after that, Diego Lopes is talking to Silva's corner. He's knocked out right in front of his corner, and they seemed like they were having some intense words and a little back and forth, and Silva didn't like that, and when Diego Lopes started walking away, Silva like shoved him or punched him one in his back while he was going away. Like I said, Silva is definitely got some screws loose. He's thrown it off. He later apologized in a post he did for how he was acting and everything, and I guess his emotions had got the best of him or whatnot. But Silva was overly confident, and it cost him. He's been like that all of his fights. He's just overly confident and wasn't respecting who Diego Lopes is, and that's exactly why I felt like Diego Lopes would get the victory and get the finish. It was going to be a finish either way, but I just felt like Diego Lopes, just his experience and his chin, and he just has that heart, and he takes the game serious. He takes his opponent serious. Like he's not being overly, confident. You can be confident to a certain extent. You always have to acknowledge your opponent's weapons, and it is dangerous in any MMA fight. But yeah, so that's that. And now at featherweight, I don't know who would be the next opponent for John Silva. I heard DC mention, I think it was DC, forgive me if I'm wrong, mention him fighting Brian Ortega, and I do not want to see that. I am tired of seeing Brian Ortega take all this damage against these up and coming fighters against the top of the division. He really needs to go up to lightweight, because he's been struggling just to make weight and hurting himself in that way. And also, he's been taking a lot of damage, and it's just sad to see, especially me being a fan of the sport and a fan of Brian Ortega. Yeah, I definitely don't want to see Ortega taking any more damage. Hopefully I think he can move up to lightweight and get some good fights and still make money in a career if he wants to, and that would be good. Yeah, or retiring if he's had a decent career, made a good amount of money. So yeah, I just don't want to see Ortega taking any damage. But I maybe Evloef and Diego Lopez too. That could be a possibility. I feel like Diego Lopez probably needs to fight one more fight. I would, say he deserves a title shot or whatnot. I wouldn't mind that, but I think it's too soon. With his experience, I think he needs another fight. Give him another fight, and yeah, that'll be good. And then I think they're gonna give LaRon Murphy the title fight against Volkanovski. It hasn't been made official yet, but I'm ready to see that fight, and I'd love to see that fight. Um, that's gonna be a good one. Hell of a tactical battle, a chess match, if you will. And yeah, give Diego one more fight. For that way, he doesn't have to wait too long, because if he waits for the next fight, which will probably be LaRon Murphy and Volkanovski, and they haven't even scheduled that fight, you know, and then, he could possibly fight Volkanovski after that if he, wins his next fight, or if it's, scheduled around the same time as that. John's, and there also people were, talking about giving him Yair Rodriguez, which I don't dispute that. That would be a hell of a fighter. I would love to see it. Although I know Diego Lopez is gonna finish Yair Rodriguez, his chin can't hold up. Simply, and Diego Lopez would find Yair Rodriguez most definitely. So yeah, that's it, and that's what it's looking like for the featherweight division as of now. Um, but either and I don't know what'll be next for Silva. He'll probably have to take a little time off, being that he got that concussion or whatnot. He'll have to take a little bit of time off, get himself back together. But he'll definitely be back putting on entertaining fights and be in the top of the division. That's for sure. Another one I probably wouldn't mind seeing Jean Silva versus Arnold Allen. That'd be a good fight. Or John Silva versus Josh Emmett. That'd be a good fight to put together. So it's a few different matchups to put together at the top of the featherweight division. Um, Aljamain Sterling is ranked fourth. I don't know who they'll probably give him next, so if it'll be a fight that could put him in the title contention. Aljamain's style, even though he's a dominant grappler and a great fighter, his style is not super entertaining at sometimes, and he doesn't get the finishes. He does dominate the fights, but he's not getting the finishes. So I don't know what they're gonna do with Aljamain, but it'll be interesting to see how the featherweight division shakes out. And that'll be all from UFC Noche Recap. Diego Lopez versus John Silva. Comment, let me know what you think, the matchups you like to see. Subscribe, like, share, turn that notification bell on. Look out for future videos. It's D Sky Hardcore Casual MMA. I'm gone. Peace.